Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nurul Faiza and my other members is Latifah, Farahin, Liana, Shafika and Amir. We are going to present about the topic increasing raw material prices in construction while COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, let's start. Okay, I will start with abstract. The COVID-19 pandemic has the biggest worldwide well-being emergency in decades, separated from the phenomenal number of admissions and hospitalizations. The pandemic has come about in financial slowdowns, broad trade disturbance, and critical hardships. This consider center on exploring the increasing raw materials price in construction, whereas COVID-19 pandemic and producers confront cascading challenge through the supply chains. The goals were accomplished through the quantitative strategies, which is from web and survey to test the speculation that increasing raw material price in construction, whereas COVID-19 pandemic and internet study was disseminated to 30 students taking construction and engineering minors. Information were collected by substantial and solid survey comprising of 3 sections. First section is demographic and 2 sections almost component that factors increasing raw material prices and effect of increasing raw material prices. The discoveries appeared that COVID-19 is increasing raw material price in construction and producers confront cascading challenge through the supply chains. Our investigation appeared a solid relationship between health factors cause difficulty in finding raw materials in construction and construction have difficulty when offering construction project. We conclude that health factors cause difficulty in finding raw material in construction, increase raw material price in construction.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Latifah binti Abdul Razak. My metric number is 270208. I will present the introduction. COVID-19 has wreaked havoc on practically every aspect of the global economy. Construction is nothing like that, as developments have been halted or postponed. Due to the new standard operating procedures of social distance procedures, safe work procedures, including the effects on production and personal supply, those allowed to operate are likely to incur cost overruns. The Global Construction Activity Index of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, a guide of present and predicted construction economic conditions between construction workers, revealed a gloomy picture among geographies. Overall, mood has improved significantly through the prior seasons. Construction sectors in certain nations have been well placed to rebound because governments have chosen to invest in infrastructure as part of the recoveries to generate jobs, improve the economy, and hasten the transformation to efficiency. Although the rehabilitation is assumed to increase in the future months of 2021, assume neither repetition of such confinement reforms initiated in 2020 economic fundamentals stays, as pandemic-related issues for construction materials are driving up building costs, which will likely lead to higher home price. In reality, during the pandemic, residential building prices are rising in most areas due to the ultra-low borrowing rates, government funding for house ownership, and coop home production and consumption even during lockdowns. Residential property price climbed by 5.6% on average in 2020, according to the Knight Frank Global House Price Index, the strongest amount in over 3 years. Thinking forwards, real estate prices are predicted to continue to rise fueled by increasing building material costs, which are predicted to rise higher due to the challenges in getting raw materials and logistical challenge that delayed supply of manufactured goods.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amir Fidabi Ismail and my matric number is 270969. And today I want to talk about methodology that our group do in our assignment. The research methodology was conducted qualitative through the observation and research obtained from the internet. As a result of the observation made, it was found there are a rising price of the building material in the construction industry during COVID-19 outbreak, which caused problem to our party involved, namely contractor, customer, and consultant. The increase in the price of building material caused the increased building costs to make a building and caused to the plan to be disrupted due to the lack of budget. The COVID-19 pandemic had affected productivity of the construction industry, as the construction activity had to be stopped for a while following government instruction during the implementation of the movement control order, or we call MCO. The most research used qualitative method to facilitate the data collection activity of the respondent through the survey and some research through the internet. Survey information among the employers is taken from the Google form created and questioned to the worker involved in construction industry in connection with the increase in the price of building material due to COVID-19 disease. This observation looked at collection of data through interview conducted in public Malaysia. There are some questions done by our group, which are divided into three categories. The first is a question related to a factor of increase the price of construction raw material. The second is the impact of rising building material price on construction industry. Third is suggestion to deal with rising price of build material during the COVID-19 pandemic. The research aimed to get their view on the potential for assistance provided by the government in overcome the problem through the COVID-19 outbreak.
Okay, I will continue with the main factor that caused the increase in the price of the raw materials in construction during the COVID-19 pandemic. The main factor is health factors will cause difficulty in finding raw materials in constructions. This is because we all know that the COVID-19 virus is a highly contagious disease. This is much related to help problems, especially during the construction process. For example, when one of the workers selling this material is infected with the COVID-19, and the result is the entire and the whole of this shop that sell the raw material will be closed and the workers will have done business with it will be quarantined and cost the entire construction. When many shops selling raw materials are closed, so it will difficult for workers to find raw materials. In addition, some building materials can be ordered through online, but it will take some time to get to the construction sites. Things like this will be a problem, especially when this construction needs to be complete in the near future. So they had to find another supplier even though the price was high. The second factor is quarantine days will cause limited movement to find raw materials. Since the existence of COVID-19 virus, many activities and jobs have had to be postponed due to quarantines. This will make raw material will difficult to find. Workers had to postpone construction because it was difficult at low and sustainable price. This is because the movement of workers is very limited and can only be concentrated at nearby supplier. The supplier who are only in the area, they will increase their price of raw material. The third factor is logistic issue. Logistic issue that contribute to difficulties and delay in deliveries for import materials due to the pandemic situation. During the outbreak of the COVID-19, online shopping activities has increased significantly since last March. This is because people are more comfortable shopping online in face-to-face. For example, when raw materials take a long time to arrive at construction site, the construction process will be slow and make it difficult for workers to proceed with the project. Not only that, the raw materials will also experience the increase of price where the high demand for the materials. In addition, shipping prices are also likely to rise sharply. The fourth factor is demand of building materials has been affected by shutdown in construction. Demand for building materials has been affected by closure in construction. This is because many unimportant projects have had to be postponed. However, demand can only become an increase with reconstruction. When there is a disruption in the supply of raw materials, the price of raw materials will increase significantly. The first impact is the quality of the project is affected. The quality of the project is affected because it very likely that employees will use low quality product because the price is much cheaper. Sometimes they only buy raw materials according to the given budget. Things like this will cause the quality of the project to be bad, such as cracking in the house, the roof leaking easily, and the walls starting to crack. Based on the news, the place in Dhaka, Bangladesh, they had 175 deaths due to the building collapse. It is rumored that the building suffered cracks before the collapsing. We already know that the quality of a project is very, very important for the workers in the construction industry. So when there is an increase in the price of fuel, it will detriment for the both whether employees or client.
Okay, I will continue for this part. For the second impact is supply chain of the construction is affected. According to a report by the Construction Industry Development Board of Malaysia (CIDB), the price of construction materials will be stable in 2020. However, the upward trend in the price of iron and some metallic materials is seen to be increasing
by 2021. This will indirectly affect the construction industry in Malaysia due to the rising prices of iron, cement and other basic construction materials. It has an impact on other construction materials including sand and bricks. Prices that have been put into construction contracts cannot cover market price volatility and additional works due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Although the contractor has contingency funds, it cannot afford losses during this pandemic. This affects the supply chain of the construction industry due to late payment by contractors and also late payment from the developer. The last impact is contractors and developers having to bear losses. Rising prices of building materials affect contractors and developers to incur huge losses. The tender cost is the price that has been agreed by the contractor and the client and cannot be changed. However, this is the case with the price of building materials has undergone significant changes during the project. This will result in the contractor incurring huge losses because it has to buy building materials at a high price and not as promised in the contract. Project risk will increase due to delays in project implementation, and the most critical is an abandoned project. For example, local contractor had to pay 3,000 per ton for the purchase of iron rods, and it was not granted to reach the site by the iron supplier due to lack of stock and logistical problems, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next are suggestions to deal with rising prices of building materials during COVID-19 pandemic. So the first suggestion is recreate a price change clause, VOP. Recreate a price change clause is to ensure that no aliens or cartel manipulates the price of construction materials. Apart from that, the Construction Industry Development Board (CIDB) has also suggested a price change clause VOP to be allocated to projects involving government construction, especially for the implementation period of the Movement Control Order (MCO). According to the Chief Executive of CIDB Malaysia, the granting of this VOP is expected to reduce the financial pressure and burden on contractors affected by the increase in building material prices, as well as ensure that ongoing projects can be completed on schedule. So for the second suggestion is a protection clause for the price of building materials is included in the contract during the tender. Incorporating a building material price protection clause into the contract when a contractor tenders a project is one of the strategies to deal with the problem of rising building material prices. This strategy can ensure that contractors do not suffer losses due to the rising prices of building materials. A contract that does not have a protection clause for the price of building materials is a tender that has a very high risk and can cause the project to be delayed or abandoned. This is because the price of building material is subject to instability and volatility is high and cannot guarantee the contractor's profit, especially during COVID-19. Next, take into account the increase the price of building materials for each project distribution. In the case of the issue of rising prices of building materials, the government needs to take into account the rising prices of building materials, especially iron, in any project that will be distributed to small contractors. If the increase in the price of goods is not taken into account, the distribution of the project, especially to G1 contractors, grade 1, will not be beneficial. Although the implementation of these projects receive an allocation from the government, but the distribution of project through the allocation still needs to be taken into account the increase in the price of building materials, especially steel, which jumped 30% at this time and still continue to record an increase. If the cost of the project does not take into account the increase in the price of building materials, many small contractors cannot afford to implement it and have to bear small losses and profits. Last suggestion is using alternative building materials. The increase in the price of main materials in construction is inevitable, especially during this pandemic. But there are several solutions that can be implemented by the government, which is using alternative building materials. Alternative building materials such as green and recycled building materials are being used to replace the industry's reliance and non-sustainable building materials. For example, replacing cement by using oil palm waste and iron waste. In this way can save construction costs such as houses. These alternative materials processed into concrete of very high quality and have high durability, suitable for the construction and skyscrapers. Thank you. That's all for me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shafika Hani binti Hilmi. My plate number is 270675. Today I will present about the conclusion. Based on the result of the case study, there were many effects in construction during the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Among the effects is that the ongoing construction had to be postponed with the MCO. It will take a long time to complete a building. As a result, 17,000 businesses will be impacted, and this business constitute the backbone of the Malaysian construction industry. According to CIDB figure from 2018, they account for the majority of the personnel and labor workforce in the Malaysian construction sector, which totaled 815,000 workers. Some international workers may elect to return to their home country following the MCO. Even if all classes of contractors are now permitted to resume building activity on the site subject to approval, the harm has already been done. In the face of honorable health and safety standards, fears and anxiety about infection, aspect of ambiguity, and a fall in foreign workers' morale, their production will be significantly interrupted. Furthermore, there is a chance that supply chain interruptions, such as those affecting key building material suppliers, equipment rentals, and imported goods, may be impossible to replicate in the short run. These features and circumstances alone demonstrate that the Malaysian building industry requires more than simply government support. Therefore, each party must work together to reduce the impact faced in the construction during the COVID-19 pandemic. This effect can be reduced if all the community and staff take care of themselves and sit at home somewhat. The rate of COVID-19 infection is reduced and can live as usual. This construction activity is very important in our country because it can develop buildings rapidly and areas that have their own functions such as hospitals, shopping malls, buildings, residents, and so on. This will better complement the life of the community in Malaysia with the gain of progress. So we have to work together in fighting this COVID-19 pandemic rather not to continue to spread in the future. That's all from our group. Thank you.